Why such heavy security presence, and how was the atmosphere in the stadium?
Because we were kind of scared. We might be scared that some rise might happen if China lost. But even with the SAD missile system, they still couldn't defend the home team. And actually, Changsha is my hometown.
Okay.
And I have some middle school classmates who were in the police force who were exactly there for security reasons. But they told me afterwards it went very well, very peacefully. Maybe it was because China scored early. We scored in the first half, and that settled the mood. It was really, really good.
Did you think we were lucky that we scored this only goal in the first half and that we maintained the advantage till the very end?
Maybe that helped, but I think we might be too careful about the tension or the mood of the Chinese football supporters. I would imagine that a majority, maybe 99% of the supporters there in the stadium, they would behave themselves afterwards because there were no alcoholic drinks. People were not really that high. Whether it would be a victory or defeat, I would imagine that we might be too careful.
Good that we didn't have to test that. But let's imagine what kind of pressure the players were under. I mean, there are many different factors, right? They had to take into consideration that they haven't won over the ROK team for decades. They had a new coach, and then on top of everything else, we have the kind of political tension, or the so-called expectation by the general public. How do you look at the pressure they were on?
In my observation, and especially in my dialogues and interviews with some of the key players, some staff of the coach and team, I would say that the pressure for Team China would all fall from the competitive, from sports background. It didn't really get so involved with the political issues because China and Korea will play against each other so many times for the past 40 years. And China only defeated them in this kind of A-level international competition once. And that once was not in World Cup qualifier, this kind of the highest standards of competitions. So that's kind of pressure. But I think the Korean players, they were under even greater pressure. This was a away match for them, and they didn't lose to China for, say, more than 30 years.
Sure.
The pressure was building on through all these 30 years. They couldn't lose.
Yeah. Another very interesting thing to watch was how did the new coach of the Chinese team fare in the very short time that he took over the Chinese team. Let's first take a listen to this SOT of what Mr. Lippi said.
This past week has been really difficult for us. We have 3 or 4 players with muscle problems and 3 to 4 players who caught the flu in Changsha. I didn't have the best players for tonight's match, and we didn't play our best football either. Despite the goal, we were too conservative and gave them too much room in the first half. We played much better in the second half and created 3 to 4 clear opportunities.
Well, if Mr. Lippi didn't really feel the kind of political pressure on his shoulder because of the THAAD issue, he definitely feels the pressure that the whole country puts on him as the savior of the Chinese team. How do you think, what kind of influence do you think he brought to the team so far?
I think he changed the mentality of Team China totally. And I do hope that CFA would renew his contract. He has a kind of 3-year contract. We hope that it would be 30 years. If he stick to that, he's almost 68 years old. He won the World Cup with Italy, his homeland, 11 years ago. And he is a very calculating but also brave manager. The starting lineup, starting 11, was the most attacking lineup that I've witnessed for more than 20 years. Of those 10 outfield players, exclude the goalkeeper, 5 of them were really attacking-based players. I would say that no former Team China head coach had used this kind of starting lineups, and he encouraged himself. He got them believe that they could give the Koreans a hard match.